4:15, I call the meeting to order. Please rise and join me in the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call. Sam Martin. Here. Bob Freeman. Here. And Rick Morgan's here. Public input. Anybody have anything?
Clarification from last week. Rick, you had mentioned this past year you've worked really hard for the $5,000 for the selectmen. I thought the chairman got 7.
No.
Okay.
Did you say that on the floor? I'll get a shot at being chairman.
No, I think it's still 5. Maybe.
5,200 for the chairman.
Oh, I get an extra 200 for being chairman. I'm sorry. So it's 5,200.
I
It's the hardest I've ever worked for $5,200. So.
Outside of that, I don't know.
Okay. Anybody have anything else under public input? If not, we'll start into the red folder. First I have is the minutes of the selectmen's meeting, which occurred on Monday, February 26th. I make a motion we accept them as printed.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And then we have the minutes of the selectmen's work session, which occurred on Monday, February 26th. I make a motion we accept them as printed.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Additionally, there were the minutes of the public hearing on Comeau, which occurred. Those minutes have been prepared, but just will act on them next week. They're available in the selectmen's office if anybody wants to look at them. We have the check voucher totals, payroll for week ending 3/3 with other benefits, health insurance, $145,675.93. We had accounts payable for week ending 2/24 in the amount of $48,685.61 for a total disbursed last week of $194,361.54. Additionally, we had accounts payable for water and sewer of $9,440.32. I make a motion we sign.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Again, you've heard me say this before, these are just the check voucher totals. When a bill comes in, it goes to the department head first, who reviews it to make sure that we in fact received what it is we're being billed for. They code it as to which line item from their budget it gets posted to. The bills are then individually reviewed by us and initialed by us before they're paid. These voucher batch totals basically is what they are, puts them into categories. There is a multi-level review of all of the bills as they come in. This is why I've developed a scribble for a signature. We have also all had an opportunity to review all of the information in this folder prior to the meeting. I have a payroll reimbursement request. This is from water and sewer in the amount of $3,159.79. I make a motion we approve. All in favor? Aye. We have a letter from our assessor. And this is regarding the Agape Ministries Church Food Pantry and Thrift Store. Long story short, this has been an ongoing issue of contention as to whether or not they qualify for a charitable organization exemption from the taxes. It's been the town's assessor and therefore the town's position that they do not. The New Hampshire Board of Land and Tax Appeals ruled in the town's favor and has denied them charitable exemption status. What we have done in the past, and what it will be my recommendation that we continue to do, is to administratively abate the portion of the taxes on the food pantry, as they do clearly provide a community service that is needed and used by many Ossipee residents. That we would continue to exempt the portion of the building which is, or continue to abate, let me make sure I use the right terminology, the portion of taxes which is on the chapel. But as to the rest of the property, they are obligated to pay taxes like everybody else. We do need to make sure and get a letter out to them that they file a timely request for that abatement.
They've already passed. The deadline was March 1st.
So they have not requested.
I'm not sure. I believe he may have dropped one off.
Can you double check on that, please? And then we'll act on it. We have a memo from Brad Harriman. This is on the sidewalk design contract. Ash, you might be interested in this. Attaches the proposed contract for White Mountain Survey and Engineering to perform the final design for the Main Street sidewalks. The cost estimate for this is $6,500. This did not go out to bid and would not normally go out to bid, as White Mountain Survey has already done the vast majority of the legwork on the sidewalks. It's a case of now getting the final design prepared. I make a motion that we approve that contract for $6,500.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. We have a warrant for excavation tax, for a tax collector to collect $54. I make a motion, we sign it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have an outdoor event application. This is for the Native American powwows. It's continuing on Route 16 in West Ossipee, July 7th and 8th, August 11th and 12th, September 15th and 16th. It's been through all of the departments.
It has not been done through the departments.
Excuse me?
It has not been through any of the departments yet. They use the old application, so I wanted you to review it before I send it through.
Try that one more time.
They use the old application form. The new application, that when we updated the ordinance last year, we had it come to the selectmen first and then go to the departments that are affected. So if you want to proceed with sending it through, this is your preliminary review.
Okay. Given that this is a continuing, I make a motion that we just put it out to the departments
Yes.
and get their recommendations back.
Yep. Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have a notice of intent to excavate. This is map 243, lot 2. Polly's Crossing. The owner is Downey Shea. Make a motion, we approve it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have a notice of intent to cut wood. This is on map 10, lots 35, 36, 34. Map 7, lot 101. 7.2 acre lot, 6 acres to be cut. The owner is Joseph Masagi. I think that's right. And the logger is Richard Buswell. The taxes have been paid. I make a motion, we approve it.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. We have a contract for use of facilities, the Ossipee Aquifer Advisory Committee, to use the Freight House. 329, schedule's been okayed by Craig. I make a motion, we approve it.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Contract for use of facilities, trustee Oblinus to use Town Hall gym for a birthday party, 421, schedule's been okayed. Make a motion, we approve it.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Have we taken action yet on the dog training classes?
We have not. We were going to mention it last week.
didn't get passed over. While we're on the subject of the contract for use of facilities, for some time, and maybe even several years, a company from Wakefield has been utilizing the gym on multiple nights a month for dog training classes. It is a for-profit business which has been using Town Hall. Up until now, it has been acceptable. It is, however, of late been creating scheduling conflicts, etc. And I make a motion that we no longer allow the out-of-town for-profit business to use the town facilities.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Let me make sure and get a notice out to her, please. We have a request for abatement. This is on map 73, lot 21. The original assessment was $117,900. The revised assessment is $34,300. Results in a refund or abatement of $1,371. Our assessor recommends we grant it. The building was raised by fire on July 14th, 2017, so the building has been demolished. The loss of this building was for 79% of the 2017 tax year, which is how they calculated the abatement. I make a motion we approve it.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. We have a request for abatement. This is on map 52, lot 13. The original assessment was $3,500. The revised assessment is $0. Results in a refund or abatement of $75. There was a generator added for 2017, and the assessed value should have been $0 on this property and a portion to the individual property owners. He has increased the Ossipee Bluffs amenity feature by +100 for each owner to account for this addition. I make a motion we approve it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have a request for abatement. This is on map 254, lot 39. The original assessment was $238,000. The revised assessment is $74,000. Results in a refund or abatement of $3,567. Our assessor recommends we grant it. He said it did a complete inspection with the property owner and have adjusted the new building accordingly. At the taxpayer's request, we do not go on the property without an appointment. We estimated the amount of finish for the 2017 tax year on scene. The property is in fact just a capped foundation with some rough walls for partitions. I recommend reducing the building to 12% good. Also, the mobile home is in poor condition and should be assessed accordingly. The net result of these changes is a revised assessment of $74,000. I make a motion we approve it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
It's a request for veterans tax credit. It's been reviewed by the assessor and meets the requirements. I make a motion we approve it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have a packet from our assessor, and it's on the equalization ratio study final results. It says, I have completed the preliminary ratio study for the New Hampshire Department of Revenue Administration. As you may know, this is an annual event that is undertaken to determine the performance of each municipality in New Hampshire's assessment and determines the apportionment for the state, school, and county tax. There were 150 sales used in this study that was from October 2016 through September 30th, 2017. There are 4 important statistics to consider. This is up from 118 qualified sales during the previous time period. The first is the weighted mean, which is used to determine the town's portion of the state and county tax. The preliminary weighted mean for 2017 is 92%. This is down almost 4% from 2016, which indicates the market value is increasing. The second is the median, which is used in property tax appeals. The 2017 median ratio is 95.1. And the third statistic is the coefficient of dispersion, which is the measure of disparity among the sales sample. The New Hampshire Assessing Standards Board has set a standard of a COD of 20% or less as acceptable. Our coefficient of dispersion for 2016 is 19.9. This is very close to the limit of 20%, which is established by the Assessing Standards Board. Finally, the price-related differential is the measure of vertical equity among the sample. The New Hampshire Assessing Standards Board and the International Association of Assessing Officers state that an acceptable range for the PRD is between 90.98 and 1.03. The PRD for 2017 in Ossipee is 1.09, which is outside the range and indicates an assessment bias to the higher valued properties. I would urge you to consider moving your update year from 2020 to 2019 to bring the assessments to closer uniformity so that it is ensured the tax burden is more equitably shared. We are right now scheduled for a reval in 2020. We have been putting money away. Are we prepared to begin it in 2019?
We might have to raise more to account. The way that we have it figured right now is we figure about $100,000. We raise $25,000 each year leading up to the reval, and so obviously we'd have to increase it to do it a year sooner, or we'd have to raise money in an off year.
I mean, I realize we're on a 5-year schedule, but what they're saying in reading through all of this is we're getting far enough out of whack that I think that we ought to consider doing it that year earlier.
So
Now,
we can start planning for it.
would we, what we've done the last few times is we've done 25% of the town each year for 4
Correct.
years. So we would be starting that.
We've already started that process. So we're in year 2 of the cyclical.
So what would we be needing to do to bring it into 2019, to complete it by 2019 instead of 2020?
I'm not sure, it's just a matter of bringing all the statistics from the 18-month period that he uses, going through and analyzing that data, and then just compiling it all into that 1 year and finalizing it.
Last year into the third year.
I think we ought to get a meeting with our assessor. Let's get Todd. Is he available on Mondays still or Wednesdays?
He's here on Wednesdays, but if I give him advance notice, I can probably have him swap a day.
I'd like to do a meeting with him next Monday, Monday afternoon, if possible. We can try to set that up, and then we'll go over it.
And if not, I can always telephone conference him then too.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. I don't care however that works if he can't be here in person, but I think I do think we need to talk with him and see what is the upside to moving it up and what is the downside to not moving it up. Really okay with that? We have the Highway Department work log, which is here in the folder if anybody'd like to look at it. We have the Recycling Center cash log from the month of February. They collected $3,276.15. We have our copy of a wetlands application. It's, I don't know what it's for. Bear Camp River and Lovell River. Assume it must be for the bridges. It's here in the folder if anybody'd like to look at it. We have a water and sewer warrant to allow the tax collector to collect $1,650. I make a motion we approve.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
We have another water and sewer warrant authorizing the tax collector to collect $177.80. I make a motion we sign.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And another warrant allowing the tax collector to collect $100. I make a motion we sign.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have a request for abatement. This is on the water and sewer side from Kevin and Dorothy Nicolazzo. And their reason for the request is an unusual overage of water. They say their normal use is 7,000 gallons. The bill read 17,000 gallons, but the water department did not find any leaks. They're requesting a $58.90 abatement. I have a note saying that nothing,
I don't find anything wrong. I mean, that there's a leak or anything, and the meter read that they use the water.
is that one of the new meters?
No, it was an old.
What is, do you know if they normally use this 7,000?
I went back in their record, and yeah, they did. And I even went back to previous owners and talked to them a little bit about it. I don't think that there's a problem.
Okay. Much like with a power company, if you all of a sudden have used a lot more electricity, unless you can prove that
Right.
somehow there's something that's the fault of the supplier. At this time, unless they provide more information, I make a motion that we deny their request for abatement.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Were people letting their water drip while it was
Some
cold?
do, but I know that most of the people let me know what it is. And some people ask for abatement, other people don't.
If you have any conversation with them, and we probably ought to just do a note to them. I mean, if they come up with more information, we'll certainly consider it, but at this point, I don't see any reason to.
It's the red folder.
Old business. Brad, anything on 28-171?
No, nothing there.
The sidewalks we've talked about. Do we have an idea of how long it's gonna take them to do the final design?
No, he did say in there that he is scheduled out for a while in his work, that he's scheduled once he gets the signed contract, which we'll give him tomorrow. My feeling is that this project here, I think he'll move up a little bit in his schedule, so I'll find out when I talk to him the next day or so, and push
We
out.
already know which properties will be impacted on that.
Yeah, yeah.
And we've begun discussions with those owners.
We haven't yet, no. But that'll be one of the first things that we start on with this
I was
process.
gonna say, that seems to me to be the first and foremost, is to get out to those folks and
Yeah.
have that conversation.
Yeah.
I think a good many of them won't have an issue with it. There's not that many properties actually impacted, I don't think.
Maybe it's just the two beyond the library from here.
So we ought to at least start to have preliminary discussions with them so that hopefully that doesn't slow that process down.
And also the apartment complex there, but that was in their site plan review originally when that was designed to, yeah, so, but we still should have a conversation with them about it, yeah.
Anything new on the covered bridge?
Nothing new today to report on it. As I said last week, I do have a meeting scheduled for tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock on site up there with the engineer and the abutters on the Nudd Road side. So we'll be having conversations about all sorts of different things there, mainly about the river work and getting the easement signed by the abutters there so that that can, move forward on that part of it. So I will have other conversations with them as far as time frame of what's going on now with the approval process
Did
and
we
stuff.
identify on that side, where the town driveway starts and stops?
It's on the plans.
Part of that on the plan?
Yeah, yeah.
Is there going to be sufficient room for parking on that side of the bridge when the project is done?
Should be, there'll be like parallel spaces that will be pulled in diagonal, but we have room to probably put 3 or 4 parallel spaces along there and keep access open to the properties there.
Okay.
What time are you meeting, Brad?
10 o'clock.
Are 2 or 3 places going to be sufficient for that?
I think so,
The reason I ask that is it might be worth, while you're meeting with them on getting permission to use the land for their private construction, maybe it would be worth having some conversation with them at that time to see if there is open to maybe either allowing the town to use some or purchasing it, or the town purchasing, and how we can get a better market.
yeah, no,
One of the things that I want to try to make sure happens, there used to be a considerable number of people who put in and fished or kayaked or canoed from the covered bridge down. Also from the covered bridge up. Now, that was abated significantly when we got the state to put in the new canoe launch down on 25, but there's still a pretty good section of river there, that people ought to be able to use and access. So, given what we spent to restore this bridge, one, I want people to be able to see it. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense if they can't. So you're gonna have to have parking there for people to be able to stop and take pictures of the bridge and all of those things, but I also wanna make sure that there's room for people to park and offload a canoe, leave the car parked there for 4 hours if they want. So maybe while you're having that conversation with them, it'd be a good opportunity to at least broach this up with them and see what they, feel them out as to whether or not we can do something with that.
Okay.
Anybody else want to add anything on that?
I'm
Covered bridge?
gonna try to be there.
Okay. And rumble strips on Route 16, we sent them off a note yet?
I actually got a message on Friday. They got word through executive council that we were inquiring about it. Obviously, the repaving of Route 16 took place back in 14 and 15, and they have since put the project out to bid to have the rumble strips reinstalled, and they've just awarded the contract. So the gentleman that left me a message is supposed to give me a call back and let me know when we can expect that will take place, but it will likely be this spring or summer.
Good. I know they're getting ready to do the ones on 28. It seems to me they probably will do 16 at the same time, I would hope. Okay, anything else under old business? New business. Additional public input? Nothing?
Regarding the covered bridge, is there a place that the public can see the current plans, at least of where it's at now?
I have some preliminary plans down at my office down back. They're obviously available to look at and stuff, but we don't have anything up electronically or anything like that right now that you can get in to see. Something like that should be available soon. As soon as these permits come through, they'll have the final design plans, done and stuff, and then we could attach them to the website or something like that if people wanted to view them and stuff.
And then secondly, is the town's right-of-way on the Nud side the same size as the right-of-way on Covered Bridge Road side?
I'm going to say I assume it is. I haven't actually looked at it close enough to measure it to see how they have it laid out and mapped out and stuff, but I'm almost assuming it is because that was the state road through there at one time, so.
But it is on the plans.
Yes, it is.
So as far as the actual dimensions will be there.
Right.
So it's safe to say that if Nud side doesn't have adequate parking, there's still the ability to possibly have parking on the Covered Bridge Road side?
There is, and that's one of the things I think you and I discussed at one point, where now there was an ordinance put in place to drastically restrict the parking at the covered bridge. That was done after the covered bridge was closed as a means of trying to abate the amount of vandalism that was going on the bridge. Once the bridge is replaced and back in, then that ordinance absolutely needs to be revisited. And then we will at that time. But
But I agree with you. After 10 years or 12 years, spending all the money we have and time and effort everyone's
Put into it, it would be a real shame to not open that up to be what it really should be.
I agree.
Just put into the only issue of something on the covered bridge road side is the fact that that road leading up to it is kind of elevated there. You have some pretty good banks right there, whereas on the other side, it's fairly level off the side of the road as far as,
And there was some things done over the years, there was not the actual room, but there was an actual parking area established, which was established on somebody's private property. So we'll have to, we'll have to look at all of that and where it comes in, but.
Because so we owning 3 Covered Bridge, our parcel
Wraps a great distance around the left side of the road considerably. And if we find down the road that the parking isn't adequate, we can certainly talk about that as well. And having the ability to to do that for the town, because I think people need to have access to that bridge. It brings a lot of people into town. A lot of people chase down those covered bridges, and even though the townspeople don't have direct access to Ossipee Lake, at least we can touch some of the water that goes into it.
Eventually close into it? Yeah. We'll get this started. No, I agree. And again, that had been used an awful lot for canoeing and kayaking. Most folks now go down to 25. I don't know if you've used it, but it's a great loading place to offload, and I've used it many, many times. But I would still like to reopen that portion of river access from the covered bridge down to 25. It's a beautiful section of river. And if you like to fish, that's quite frankly, that's some of the better fishing on the Bear Camp River in that area. So.
And I think a lot of people know a lot about that current 25 entry point.
That it probably deflects quite a bit of people that would go down there.
And there's good parking there, and it's, it's really shallow, so you
Yep.
can get in and out of it. So I don't think there'll be any huge number of people, but those who want to, I think it's important that we try to gain that access.
That's great.
I had heard the other day from a Tamworth planning board member that was going to be made by the state a one-way road. Nothing about that.
They won't do that. We have toyed with the idea. No decision was made, but it is a town road. So therefore, it would be the town's determination as to whether or not to do that. And at this point, I don't see a good reason to do it. There was some talk before about the possibility of doing that to try to limit as best we can the traffic impact up on Route 16 at Covered Bridge and Route 41 and not that whole area. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. That is not a great intersection. But the more we looked at it, it wasn't going to help the situation any by going one way on that road. It's still going to put the same number of cars back in that intersection going one way or the other. And we're relying on the state, who is right now in the process of redesigning that whole intersection to address the safety.
Because of the
Conflict with the lighting.
There is, but at the same time trying to, the last thing I heard was they're going to try to realign the road so it comes out directly opposite, and then you end up with a four-way stop, which is by far the safest remedy to what's going on there. Covered Bridge Road, once the bridge was closed, has been a dead-end street that literally has, a dozen cars a day. If that, it's just the homeowners that come in and out. So, once the road is reopened, and it will be reopened with a 6-ton limit, so that vehicle traffic can in fact, and will, go across there as a shortcut between 16 and 25. That's, we all remember when it was open.
I used to go across.
It wasn't a great intersection. It wasn't a great intersection then, and it's, only gotten worse over the years with more and more traffic, so. Anybody else have anything else under public input? Anybody have anything else?
Town reports will be available tomorrow around 3 o'clock.
Town reports are coming. We don't have any need for a non-public. We have a Meet the Candidates night, which is here tonight in the gym at 6:30.
And there's a box there if you wish to put your questions in there anonymously. The cards are there and you can write your question down.
And on the 13th, obviously, from 10 to 7 is the town election for us here. And the following night being March 14th, Wednesday at 6 p.m., the money portion of the meeting starts here in the gym at 6 o'clock. Anybody have anything else? Add anything up from Concord? Everybody ready for some more snow? I guess not. Nothing else, I make a motion to adjourn. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Thank you.